good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Fallout Bar once again. It is day 4 of the PDC World Darts Championship. Myself, Jack Garwood, joined tonight by Mr. Cam McFarlane. How are we doing, buddy?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. First one of the 3 weeks for me, this one. I'm sure we'll be seeing me again a few times as we go along. Well, you don't have to. I'll be honest. I'd quite happily not done tonight. It's got a bit late tonight, hasn't it, with the latest start.
Mate, last night was exactly the same with Dan, who signed up last minute as well. I was like, oh dear, sorry, buddy, you're on. I'm just moving all my food out of the background because that looks incredibly unprofessional.
Don't change the habit of a lifetime, mate.
I'll ask you the same question as I asked Dan. And what do you think of the tournament so far overall?
It's been all right. It's not really. Today's been a good day, actually. I quite enjoyed today. I think we had a couple of cracking games. I think it's still yet to really sort of catch fire and get that real sort of feel that we're getting into it. But it's the first couple of rounds. It's always a little bit like this at the start, isn't it? It takes a while to warm up.
Yeah, it does. But I feel like today is the day the tournament kicked into life a bit. We saw a couple of exceptional performances. We saw multiple candidates for match of the round or match of the tournament so far, and a couple of shocks or disappointments, I guess, at the same time as well. Yeah,
we did. It was, like I say, maybe it needs a morning start. Maybe we get a little bit of a better start today when we start off at 11:15 as it was this morning. I think it was the first game. Yeah, it has definitely been. We've seen some serious performances and definitely the match of the year so far. But we'll come on to that in a bit. Match of the year, they've gone too far. Match of the tournament.
It was indeed. Good evening to everybody in the chat room as well. By the way, guys, I didn't forget about you. I do realise I jumped straight to Cam then, but you guys are all far more important than he is. I'm just trying to keep him happy, so he does a few more shows this week. Jackson, once again, good morning to yourself, Juanita. Sam, how are we doing, buddy? Craig's in as well. Harry's back in. He's been in every night. So is Bob. Tommy's in as well. So good to see you all. How are we all doing? As per, quick reminder, we are going to play you some reaction clips from all of tonight's winners that we have available to you. Those interviews will be available in full on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to drop us a like on this stream and hit subscribe if you haven't done so already, as we make our way towards 30,000 subscribers. It's the only way you guys can get involved in the chat room as well. Right, Cam, we're going to go in match order, as we have done for the entire tournament. And we start with a game that I thought was pretty interesting, despite the sub-90 averages once again in this one. Madars Razma getting the best of Prakash 3-1. The Latvian, he was pushed in this one severely, a lot closer than the scoreline suggests, especially in the first 3 sets. There's a good argument that Jiwa could have been 2-0 up in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way that this game went, it could very easily have been. It could have been a 3-0 win for Prakash. I mean, he was really impressive in this early stages. He just missed a lot of chances when it came to it. I don't know what he finished up with overall on the checkouts. I think it's probably around 30% or so. But the way he missed chances at sort of the wrong times and got punished for it. But then we kind of saw at the end, Razma turn into the Razma that we all know. He decided just to go full time onto the 19s, and all of a sudden he was a different player and reeled off the last 4 legs in no time, to be honest. But yeah, got away with one a little bit, but then was very impressive himself at the end.
Yeah, I mean, he is lethal on those 19s, isn't he? He is one of the players that switches about possibly more than any other player. I don't have the stats to back it up, but it does feel like he is more comfortable and adept and doesn't quite fit that you have to start on 20s narrative. He will switch down to the 19s if they're not going, and it's a little bit of an MO for him, and it's paid off in this one, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't understand why he ever throws at 20s unless he absolutely has to. It makes no sense to me, because he is by far a better darts player when he throws at the 19s. Every time I've ever watched him, I think when he switches down, he just looks more comfortable, more confident down there. I don't understand why he ever goes up to 20s. Okay, yeah, you might score an extra 9 points if you fill up the 20s rather than filling up the 19s. But realistically, is that going to make a big difference if you're hitting them a lot more consistently?
No, I mean, if you're hitting them far more frequently, percentage-wise, than you are treble 20s, it's going to pay off for you in the long term completely. I want to talk Prakash. I'll be honest, I didn't give him much hope coming into this game. I thought the way that I'd see him at the seniors a few weeks ago, was pretty impressed with the level that he was playing at. Then we saw him in the Moda Super Series last week before this tournament got underway. I thought he really struggled in that environment. I wasn't that enthusiastic about this at all coming into it. But actually, he did put up a bit of a fight. Steady performance. 29 tons thrown in 4 sets. But that 4th set, it just seemed to fall apart for him completely, didn't it?
Yeah, he was really consistent. I thought he played very well. I was impressed with him today. Like I say, it's just he missed chances at the wrong times, and then that final set, I don't even think he did particularly anything overly wrong in that final set. I think Madars was just at a level that we know he can play at, and he, in terms of the top level, he probably has that higher ceiling that he can go to, and I think he just clicked into gear and it went. I mean, that final set was done in about 45 darts, I think. So it's pretty good going.
I mean, when he does produce that level, Madars Razma is an incredibly steady dart player, but it's the fact that he just doesn't do it frequently enough. He's very needs to get more and more on TV, doesn't he?
Yeah, very, very frustrating to watch at times because we know how good he is, we know what he can do. Yeah, just I don't think it helps with the fact in how frustrating he is to watch that when it's not going right, he's also quite deliberate and quite slow as well, and it makes it even more of a painful watch than it would be for maybe someone else that's dropping the level a little bit.
Yeah. Right, let's hear then from our winner in match number 1 this afternoon. That is Madars Razma.
We played 2 years ago, and that was our first. We played the first time against each other. But now, in the last 2 years, we played in Pro Tour. I beat him as well, and now we are better friends. I hope he feels the same. yeah. And I have more experience right now. This year, World Grand Prix, European Tours. I don't want to say any predictions, but I will fight. I have a chance to win. Yeah.
From the Gary that we've seen this year, do you feel that you can get at him and he is beatable?
I didn't see Gary this year, but come on, he's 2-time world champion. He can be worse. But this time I'm not. This year I'm not here to enjoy game against Gary. This year I'm here to beat him. Yeah. 2 years ago I told you I played the first time against him. He's one of my favorite players. And but this year I want to beat him, and I'm sure I will be good enough. I will be better than he knows my triple 19s. And yeah.
Referenced it himself there right at the end. He knows what my triple 19s can do as he does take on Gary Anderson in the next round. On to the second match of the afternoon, and this one again, Cam. The result perhaps isn't a surprise. This was pretty much a coin toss at the start of the day in this one. But the scoreline, Karel Sedlacek producing an exceptional performance, the best of the tournament up until that point, 98.72 average, to absolutely hammer Raymond Smith 3-0 in straight sets. A win for Evil Charlie in superb fashion.
Yeah, he played really, really well. I was, like you say, it's pretty almost a coin toss of who you fancied to win in this. I was slightly leaning towards Raymond Smith, just going off the back of what we saw from him last time, in how clinical he was as well on the finishing, and he just didn't quite have that today, and got punished for it by a very, very good performance from Karel, where he just played really well. He was just, like you say, he had to be on it to be winning, because I mean, even with the ridiculous sort of finishing stats for Smith that were like a long way off what we would expect, he still averaged well into the 90s. So shows you how well and how consistently he scored as well, but just didn't get the result because
that is that is and has been Raymond Smith's MO. He hits a lots of 140s, doesn't quite follow in with the maximums, but it is his doubling that put him on a bit of a run last year and put him on a fantastic run to go and win the week at the Motor Super Series, not the week just gone, the week before that. He looked very solid, very steady in that. So coming into this, the form guide, everything said that Raymond Smith was potentially set for another good run. But Karel Sedlacek has basically, and the performance of Scott Williams later on, has basically just proven that Q School is an absolute lottery. And sometimes the best players in the world don't get tour cards, because this performance from Sedlacek is one of many that we've seen from over the last couple of years where he is good enough to be a tour card holder. He is better than a fair few of the current tour card holders. Yeah. I know Raymond Smith isn't one of those, but that performance on a World Championship stage, not everybody on tour is capable of that as frequently or as comfortably as we saw Karel Sedlacek make that look.
Yeah, exactly that. No, you're spot on, and it does show. I mean, the Q School format, it does lend itself to sometimes not the best players making it through. But yeah, I thought he was really good, and like you say, he's definitely somebody that we could see doing this week in, week out.
You could indeed. Let me just check. Do we have the bold Czech Republican guy? We do not. Must be the one we are missing for today then. So we're going to move on to the third match of the afternoon. It was Luke Woodhouse against Vladislav Omerochenko. Look, scoreline, I think most people predicted this one. We didn't expect an awful lot from the Eastern European qualifier, I think it turned out to be. But despite that, there were moments in this match for Vladislav that will make him walk away with a smile. In particular, the 1-4-3 checkout, fired at a maximum as well. He had chances in set 2 and set 3 to really put Luke Woodhouse under a bit of pressure here. But the experience of Woody, just comfortable, going through the gears as and when he needed it, gets through 3-0.
Yeah, I think we all probably expected 3-0. There was a lot of talk that it was going to be 3-0, 9-0. So to see him get a few legs on the board, like you say, fire in a max, take out that 1-4-3, was lovely, bit of magic as well. I mean, yeah, there's not many feel-good stories in getting beat 3-0, but I think this was one today, wasn't it? Where he's definitely going to go away happy, even with a 3-0 loss, in that he got this chance up there, first ever player from his country to play up there, and did himself proud, didn't he?
Yeah, that's look. Not everybody at the World Championships is there because they're capable of winning the World Championships, right? When you expand to a 96-player field, of which a third of that are qualifiers or international players or whatever else, right? Not everybody there is capable of winning that tournament. Some are just there, a bit like the Olympics. Sometimes your minnow country turns up and just having their moment is enough. And I think today will have been enough for Omerochenko. His family and friends that were there supporting, all of them but one who actually knew what was going on, because there was one where he won a leg and she's like, yay, like, because she was nudged by someone else to tell her to cheer. Yeah. But it was a little bit feel-good, wasn't it? He enjoyed his walk on. He had a massive smile on his face. Had darts to win legs in the first set. I think that might have put him on the back foot just a little bit. I'll be honest, from what I saw from the qualifier and the averages and stats-wise, I don't think that was far off what his A game is.
Yeah. So he's,
like you said, he produced that moment, the 1-4-3, a little bit of feel-good up there, and he won't walk away disgraced by that, despite the fact that it was a 3-0 victory, and pretty much everybody thought this was what was going to happen. Yeah,
exactly that. I mean, it's one of those. If he'd gone up there and got beat 9-0 in legs, then yeah, he might have walked away a little bit at this point. But I think that was probably as much, if not slightly more, than what he could have hoped for from this game. And fair play to him. He's gone up there and he's given it a real go, and he didn't freeze under pressure. Like you say, he's average, basically what you would expect, what his sort of top level his A game is. So it's impressive from him, to be fair. And like you say, it's a feel good moment. But Woody did exactly what we kind of expect him to do, and he just kind of had that extra gear that we know he's got.
Yeah, he did. Do we think? It's an 87 average. It's job done by Woody. There was the odd moment. Look, Omerochenko puts him under a little bit of pressure, and there was a little bit of scrappiness, I guess, from Woody, especially on the scoring. Do you think there was an air of trying a little bit too hard at times, just because everybody was expecting this to just go one way completely? And it was a little bit closer than perhaps everybody was saying it was going to be.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's a little bit tough, isn't it, when everyone's expecting you just to steamroll someone. And anything you do other than that is always going to look a little bit sort of questionable as to how well you've played, and people are going to look at it and say, "Oh, you should be doing better than that." But so it puts an added bit of pressure on, but I think it was pretty good for him today. He held it together and just did what he needed to do, and I think we'll see him perform better than that in the next round.
Yeah, I think there's only really one darts match in recent memory that I can recall where you looked at it pre-match and said this person is going to win in straight sets, straight legs, and it actually come off.
Yeah.
And that was Lisa Ashton at the Women's World Championship at the Indigo against Paula Jacklin. That was possibly the easiest money I've ever made gambling, to be quite honest. But there were plenty of others that thought the same, and it actually came off. There have been other situations or matchups where you look at it and go, yeah, I've got a chance here, and doesn't quite turn into that. But look, a victory for Luke Woodhouse. We're going to hear from him now and see what he had to say in his post-match press conference.
Thing is with myself, like, players know I'm more than capable, and my top game's really, really good. But it's just that if I drop off a little bit, then my sort of B and C game's probably not quite good enough to win games. But like I say, if I'm going to turn up and play my A game, then a lot of players, they've got something to think about. Oh yeah, I mean, like I say, today was all about getting through that first game. To play Gez's on a world stage, and obviously he was world champion 2 years ago. For me, that's what it's all about. But like I say, I've got to play a lot better than that. Like, probably put another 10 points on my average, really, to really push him, really. So if I can do that, then yeah, you never know, really. So, but yeah, the whole thing was win that game, have a shot at Gezi, and then we'll go from there, really.
Job done professionally by Luke Woodhouse in his performance and in his post-match press conference. Just said the right things, didn't he? Evening to everybody that's joined us in the chat room. Colin, we see you. How we doing, buddy? Jamie's dropped in as well. Jamie says, I think he gets a set versus prize, maybe in two. Yeah, look, Luke Woodhouse's A game, 100% is good enough to go and give Gerwin Price a match. But if he plays like he did against Madars Razma, I do fear for him in the next round. We close out the afternoon session with a match that on paper should have been spectacular. A match that on the TV, in front of TV cameras, possibly should have even gone the other way, given recent history. However, Damon Heta has won 2 TV titles, and he's on track for possibly a third here at this World Championship after an exceptional performance against a very under par Adrian Lewis. The Heat winning 3-0 against Jackpot, straight sets, 3-1, 3-2, 3-1, 96 average, as I said, for Heta. Just solid from Damon, whilst Lewis was at the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, I didn't really see this one going this way. I didn't see it. It was one of those, again, a little bit of a coin toss game going in. I wasn't really sure who I fancied to win it. Glad I wasn't having to predict it last night on the show. But I think, I don't know what it was with Adi today, because he looked pretty good in his first game. And I don't know whether he was just trying too hard, whether there's just, he talked this week about the fact that obviously he needs to start performing better up there, otherwise he's not going to be around for much longer. And I don't know whether that was just in his head when he's up there and he's thinking too much about it, but he was nowhere near the level that we know he can play at, and quite disappointing today, and not sort of fun to watch. Someone that loves watching AD in full flow, it just wasn't there at all, and there was never really any moments where you felt like it was coming.
No, I think that was the issue with the performance today. As good as Damon Heta was, this was all about Adrian Lewis just not turning up today. You said there about we know what level he can reach. We know what level his A game is at. We know what level he produced on this stage in the last 40 hours. It was nowhere near that either, which is the more concerning thing, because I think there was more gears to come after the performance we saw from him in round one. But it was just a completely different action. It was like he never settled up on that stage at all. It was AD of 2.5 years ago when his back injury was on his way back, and you know the scruffy looking AD Lewis that wasn't shaven and that was tinkering with darts all over the place. It was so wild, and there was just the rhythm seemed to be there with the throw, but just the placement didn't. Like, it was like, all right, I'll play at this pace and it'll mask anything else that comes from this, but it was just a really unsettled performance from Adrian Lewis. Didn't look like he had any fight whatsoever to live with Damon Heta.
No, it didn't. It was a strange one, like you say. It was nowhere near what we'd seen from him the other night, and it's just I don't know, because we all know that he's at his best when he's just up there and natural and just not really thinking about it and just playing, and it just looked like that wasn't the case at all. Like he clearly wasn't. There was no freedom in it. It just wasn't what we've come to expect from him, really.
Yeah, as for the Heat, solid performance up on that stage, given all of the attention on his TV form from the likes of me, you, and pretty much everybody else out there as well, going, actually, he might be in trouble in this one. When we're looking at seeds that might be in trouble, we saw that Adrian Lewis name coming through Daniel Larson, and you're like, hang about. AD's had a good 6 months. Damon's TV form struggled to get out around 1, but that's the way to do it, isn't it? Over 50% on your doubles, 2-ton pluses, 4 maximums, 96 average. And actually, I think Damon played at just that little bit of a quicker pace. And I think, just going back to that pace quickly, I think AD anticipated a slower match, so went in there just trying to get on with it himself.
Yeah.
A bit taken aback by the fact that Damon was actually pretty similar.
Yeah, he was pretty rapid. I mean, he's not particularly slow anyway, Damon, but he I don't mean he did just seem a little bit faster, a little bit like he looked really comfortable up there, and yeah, I wouldn't fancy playing him.
No, look, now he's got his foot in the door up on that stage, he's got a chance, hasn't he? And that's all you can do. Like the cliche, you're still in it, whatever. But Damon Heta's form this year has been good enough to win major titles. Damon Heta's TV performances haven't quite been there. But if he stays at this level or better for the rest of the tournament, he does have a real chance, doesn't he? Let's hear then from the Heat and see what he had to say after his pick.
Yeah, 100%. It's just people are always going to have their doubts, aren't they? You know what I mean? And they're going to have their bets and all that. So, you know what I mean? It's up to me and just what I do and shut that out and be professional about it. Just play my game and be happy and enjoy it. At the end of it, just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it. Simple. Problem solved for Damon Heta. That's how you make your way into round 3 of the PDC World Championship. Quick reminder, all these interviews are available in full on the YouTube channel as well. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that jazz to those of you that have joined us after I said that right at the start. Into the afternoon session, Cam, and myself and Dan bigged this session up a little bit yesterday. And I gave my brother some abuse for saying how he thought it was mediocre and crap and whatever else in conversations we've had previous. And to be honest, when you look at the lineup, right, it's not the most standout big names. And I think the PDC have done that deliberately because the fact that the FIFA World Cup was on, if England have been involved in that, etc., they've gone a little bit international with it and the like. But in doing so, they actually created a little bit of a monster of a session here, I think.
Yeah.
There were 4 really nicely matched players, matchups on paper. All 4 of these, you looked at them when actually you can make an argument for both of these players winning it. It didn't quite unravel that way. In fact, none of them went to a deciding set, but that was because of the brilliance of one player in each of these matches in particular.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, this was the one when we were doing our preview videos the other day and looking at the games that we fancied to be good out of the first round. I was very, very close to picking the second game in this session as my one. And it just so happened that I quite fancied the one that was just after it in Matt Campbell, Danny Baggish. But it was just a really good night. It was just, like you say, well matched. They were always going to be fairly close and competitive. No one's going to completely blow someone out of the water, you wouldn't have thought. Although, like you say, the brilliance that we saw from some of them, it actually turned out that they weren't that as close as we thought they might be.
Yeah, they weren't indeed. We start off with Mike Dudeka's win over Jeff Smith. And weird, this is one of them strange things. It feels very much like a Michael Owen statement to make, but this felt a lot better than an 88 average from Mike Dudeka. I thought it was exceptional early on as well. Put Jeff Smith under all sorts of pressure. To finish with a lower average than Jeff Smith, but a 3-1 victory seems strange to say, but it was a really good performance from Mike Dudeka. I'm just not sure how the numbers have worked out this way.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking exactly that then. I was just obviously had the stats up there in front of me, and I watched this game and I thought Mike Dudeka averaged about 98, not 88. thought he looked like he played really, really well up there. And somehow I feel like that's an error. I'm not. I feel like something's gone wrong. But I think where you look at it is 140, and he's hit 8 180s, but he's not hit the consistent sort of 140 scoring in between that. So that's probably where the difference in the numbers is. But it obviously looks a better performance because you're seeing a couple of ton plus finishes that came in the first 2 legs, and then obviously 8 180s over the match as well. And that's probably where it's felt a little bit of a better performance than possibly it was. Clinical on the outer ring though, which was what sort of set him apart really here, and I thought he looked really good up there.
Yeah, look, I don't think Jeff Smith played that badly either. Look, he's finished with a 92 average, he's been beaten 3-1. Possibly a little unfortunate to be 2-0 down, especially in that second set. Does reel off the third as well. And at that point, you're thinking, actually, careful in case Rod Studd's listening, that Smith had a little bit of the momentum there and was possibly the better player at one point. Made the Lakeside World Final on debut. He's been in set play before. We know what he's capable of. But it just seems to be the case that for one reason or another, it isn't happening in Jeff Smith's starting career, whether that be travel problems, luggage issues, or actually on the board being beaten by solid performances or whatever, just not being able to get over the line in 50-50s. It's just not going there for Jeff Smith right now, is it?
Yeah, I know. It's just one of those things, isn't it? We kind of alluded to it there in that he doesn't have a lot of luck, does he? In terms of whether it's, like you say, travel or whether it's the draws he gets. Because, I mean, it's not any. There are easier draws out there than he could have had than Mike Dudeka first up here and the way that he played as well. So I think, yeah, it's not quite happening for him at the moment, but we know how good he is, and he's certainly capable of going up there and winning these sorts of matches sort of quite comfortably, and it's just not happening for him at the moment.
Yeah, it's not. And the other thing to keep an eye on at this point, he hasn't lost it as yet, but the live order of merit puts Jeff Smith at 63rd. So there are a few players below. I think there's 5 players, if they win the next game, can all go above him, and some that have to win 2 games or more to go above him. But he's basically got hope for 1 out of the 5. If 2 or more out of the 5 players that are 1 game away win the next game or something, Jeff Smith will lose his scorecard. So something else for him to keep an eye on over the next few days. As for Mike Dudeka, look, we saw his pedigree on the youth tour a few years ago. Him and Dimitri used to push each other all the time, but hasn't quite expanded into the pro ranks as perhaps many would have thought. Let's hear what he had to say after his victory over.
And then all of a sudden, I don't know why or what happened, but I just started to get nervous. As you probably know, the attention in Belgium for the last 2-3 years has been massive, and I think I started talking about that because I've been doing really well the last couple of months, and it's been going, oh, Mike is the best Belgium at the moment, and I tried to block it off, but at some point in that game, I started thinking about it because everyone is expecting me to win, and it was a roller coaster of emotions.
A mature comment from Mike, perhaps not the thought process up on stage. There is an argument to be made, and I hadn't really thought about that perhaps form-wise, he was the best Belgian in the last few months. Look, Dimitri's performance earlier on in this tournament may have squandered that a little bit, but since that change in manufacturer, we haven't quite seen the level that we expect from Dimitri van den Berg. And Pro Tour-wise, Mike Dudeka was certainly in that conversation. However, we do need to move on to... It's not a record as such because we've seen it before, but this is only the second time that we've seen a player win with a ton plus average in round 1 in the last 96 since they changed the format of the PDC World Championships. And the other player that had that average was another Belgian in Kim Huybrecht. So there's a very, very tedious link there somewhere. It was just difficult for me to spit it out. But Scott Williams was unbelievable, Cam, in a 3-1 victory over Ryan Joyce. Joyce actually finishes with 103 average. He just lost in the first round of the World Championships with 103 on day 4 in a tournament where we've seen players struggling to get over 90. How unlucky must you be to just be the man that falls into that trap?
Yeah, like I say, I nearly picked this as being my sort of game of the first round, and and he sort of lived up to it completely, didn't he? I mean, it's not just that he's averaged 103 right, Joyce. He's also over 40% on his doubles as well, which, if you'd said to him before the game...
7-180s. 7-180s, 40% on the doubles, averages 103 and loses 3-1 to a man on debut at the World Championships.
If he'd woken up this morning and you said, right, you're going to go up there, you'll average 103 and you'll average 41% on your doubles, he'd have shook your hand and he'd have come back in a week's time for the next round.
The response is, how many legs am I dropping in the 3 sets?
Yeah, exactly. It was just ravaging. I mean, that first set from Scott Williams, 116 average almost, like, it was just outrageous. And then at the end was very, very good as well. He had a little wobble in the middle, but took advantage of his chance to get over the line in the third set, and then went off and reeled off the last one as well to get over the line. But just a really good performance from someone making the debut up there as well. But he doesn't lack for a confidence, does he? He's not shy, isn't the boy?
Yeah, he's not going to be shy in handing over cash to the DRA by the looks of it, because he got caught out in an interview, the silly boy.
Probably needs a couple more wins, to be honest.
Yeah, it feels strange to say that he dropped off in the second set. It's almost inevitable you're going to drop off from 115 average. But do you think that break, if he'd stayed up on that stage, do you think we'd be talking about something even more impressive right now? You get 4 or 5 minutes to go off stage, think about what you've just done, come back out on stage and go, right, I'm going to do it again. It's just not very likely at all, is it?
No. And as much as he is as confident as he is, and he's got that self-belief and look pretty relaxed up there, it is going to hit you what you've just done in that first set when you've gone off stage. And like you say, if it was straight up first 2 sets and then you go into a break, he probably keeps it going for a bit more and possibly reels off a 3-0 win. But yeah, it's impressive for him. The only disappointment was the lack of the yellow shoes.
He said they hurt his feet after half an hour. And Mardle made the comment on commentary that might not be up there half an hour.
No, exactly. But yeah, I mean, they're not going to get any better if he doesn't wear them. He just needs to wear them in a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah. A quick word on Joyce, right? Because he was number 33 on the Pro Tour Order of Merit by £250. He was almost unlucky to not be in the World Championships outright in that seeded in that Pro Tour side, shall we say. Then goes to the qualifier, comes through a tough run, puts himself into this tournament. You're like, right, that's probably what he deserves after the floor season in particular that Ryan's had, especially towards the back end of the year and whatever. And then he goes and draws Scott Williams. I mean, he's pretty safe for his tour card, but that just sums up the bad run of luck that Ryan Joyce is having right now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And we've seen it this year. I mean, he's playing really well, and he's dangerous for anyone. And if you're not bang at it, he's going to punish you because he's capable of going up there and averaging with the best of them. And yeah, I think he's just unlucky today. I mean, he's just absolutely run into one today that's just he couldn't have done much else with.
Talking of playing with the best of them, I don't want to go too big too early on Scott Williams, but he has been building up very, very nicely. Obviously, does not have a tour card yet. Is about to earn one outright. And then that spot that he would have got from the top of the Challenge Tour is about to move down because he is lying in the world rankings and just moving his way up. So to win a tour card outright from scratch in a year from the Challenge Tour is a ridiculous achievement in itself, despite the fact he would have got one through the Challenge Tour anyway. But the performance level, what he's capable of, the fact we've seen him play Moda Super Series to such a high level as well, and now he's doing it on TV. I tweeted something earlier that perhaps we've been bigging up the Rob Cross meteoric rise about the wrong player at the minute. Josh Rock has been exceptional and as world youth champion, but he's had those opportunities to play as a tour card holder. Scott Williams is about to announce himself to the world, perhaps not as a world champion, but certainly in his debut world championship at a ridiculously high level with a little bit of swagger. And it's no coincidence that actually he practices with Rob Cross, that they're about to experience possibly similar trajectories to start their PDC career.
Yeah, and like you say, I I'm not sure we've been talking about the wrong one. Maybe we should be talking about both, because Josh Rock is fully deserving of the talk that you've been getting. But yeah, like you say, Scott's certainly got to be in the conversation as well, because I mean, to turn up and do that on your first ever time on that world stage is something really impressive, and he's clearly got it, and he's got that little bit of arrogance that he's not going to get held back in not believing in himself, like we see sometimes when people are making the way in the sport. It won't be for lack of confidence and lack of self-belief that if he doesn't get right to the top.
Absolutely not lacking in that at all, is he? Let's see what he had to say then in his post-match press conference.
I'd love to pick that Sedlacek trophy up. Absolutely love it. But that's 2.5 weeks away. We'll speak about it when I'm in the final on the Sunday. Yeah, any stage, literally any stage. Give me a stage, give me cameras, give me people, and I will give you a good game, or I'll try to give you a good game. If not a good game, I'll make you laugh. One of the two. You get one or the other. You don't get both.
Not lacking confidence yet. I'll see you in the final. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Perfect
We'll
timing
talk
for
about
that, Scott Williams. However, he's got a chance because he's still in the tournament. A long way to go right now, but Scott Williams does progress to take on Rob Cross. Penultimate game of the evening session in Cam, and this one, scoreline again, pretty one-sided. It was a all North American clash, Canada versus North America. Danny Baggish against Matt Campbell. Baggish won this one 3-0.
He did. This was my pick for a game of the first round, and I thought this was one that would go right to the end. Obviously, Baggish really needed the win. He needs, I think, at least one more, if not two more, to keep his card and to not have to go back to Q School again in January. But I thought while he played well, and I thought he was good, and he hit things at the right time to make sure that he was winning legs and getting over the line in the match, I thought Matt Campbell was a bit off, to be honest. I didn't think he was anywhere near what we know he can do.
Yeah, look, stats-wise, it says that this match was pretty close, but it just felt like Baggish had everything he needed whenever he needed. We've been big on Matt Campbell and his potential, perhaps not what we've seen from him fully, but there's a solid base of an action there. There's a very, very good A-level game, but we just don't see that anywhere near often enough. And there are concerns now that the B game perhaps isn't as good as it needs to be at this level as well. Disaster on the outer ring, though. Just 5 from 18 for Matt Campbell. Probably the reason why he's stared down the barrel of a 3-0 loss to Baggish, who seems to save his best for that stage. Yeah.
It's not just that. I mean, the scoring as well. I mean, he's not hit 180 either, and then he's done very little on the outer ring as well. He's going to struggle against most people, but when you've got Danny Baggish playing like he did there, and like you say, loves it up on that stage, and we definitely see his best up there, which is why he's in the position he's in as well, and having to win up there a couple of times at least to keep his tour card.
3 more wins.
Is it 3 more? Is it?
At least 2 more, but
yeah, it's not. That's why he's in that position, because he's not doing it away from the big stage. But I suppose if there's one place you want to do it, it's up on that stage at the Ali Valley. Like
2 more wins would provisionally get him in, but that's provided nobody else
jumps out.
Danny Janssen, Cameron Menzies, Gert Nenchez, Jim Williams, Nils Zonneveld or Sedlacek win another game. So all likelihood that he's going to have to win at least 2 more to save his tour card.
Yeah, not really where you want to be. But if he keeps playing like that, he might well do it.
Yeah, a bit of fight from him. Let's hear then from the gambler and see what he had to say after that 3-0 victory over Matt Campbell.
Bother me. I like putting up good numbers, putting up big checkouts, and celebrating with them. So, I'm a showman. So whether I win or lose, I'm always going to have fun. Yeah, it's a learning curve. Back in the States, I'm no disrespect to anyone, but I feel like I'm a big fish in a little pond, and you come over here, I'm a little fish in a big pond. So for the first year and a half, I wasn't comfortable. I had to adjust leaving my family. I had to adjust FaceTiming my son and stuff like that, and my girl, and it was tough. It was tough, but I've been playing well the last 6 months, and I told everyone that I'm super confident coming into this tournament. I don't care who's in it. I'm just confident.
I like that fighting talk from Baggish as he goes through something that I've seen firsthand from other pros as well. Just that being away from home is incredibly difficult for players, especially some that live as far away as they do to America, to the other side of the world, the other way. Incredibly tough for him to do that, but a superb win for Danny Baggish. It does keep those tour card hopes alive. On to the final match of the night, Cam, and Nathan Aspinall told everybody his plan was to get out in front of Boris Krcmar and watch him crumble just a little bit, as often happens on the tour. It looked like that wasn't going to go to plan. Boris Krcmar raced into a 2-leg lead in the first set, but I thought John Park summed it up perfectly on commentary this evening. When he was going for a leg double, Krcmar looked ridiculously solid. When he was going for a set double, he had nothing tonight. And whilst he did win set 2, it slowed him down massively through the rest of the match.
Yeah, he just wobbled when it was that important one to get over the line and get the set on the board. I mean, he was lucky to win set 2, to be honest, because he missed chances in that one as well, didn't he? And then Nathan let him come back for another go, and that's when he got over the line on the 3-3 last starting hand, I think it was. But I think, it was... Basically, Nathan did what he needed to. I thought he played pretty well, actually, to be honest. I think there's still another gear there if he needs it, but he was pretty solid. And I mean, fair play to Boris as well. He didn't crumble when Nathan nicked that first set, which we could have seen him do. Like I say, he came back and he won the second set. He was in the third set, and then the fourth set he probably did crumble a little bit at that point, but he didn't just fall apart like Nathan had kind of suggested he might do. Yeah, I think the Asp look good there, and it's a good solid base for him and someone that could have a little bit of a run.
Yeah, interesting part of the draw that the Asp finds himself in as well. Johnny Clayton, Peter Wright, big names, but perhaps aren't in the title winning form that we've seen from him in the past. That quarter could evolve quite nicely. Word on Boris Krcmar, like I said, he didn't crumble as Aspinall suggested once you're out in front of him, but he didn't quite have enough to stop the Asp in his tracks, did he?
No, he didn't. But I mean, the way Nathan played up there tonight, not many do have enough to sort of stop him in his tracks when he's playing well and he's consistently in 140s like he was. I think when he's in that mode and when he's playing like that, you've got to do a lot to beat him.
Yeah, indeed. Let's hear from the Asp and see what he had to say after that win.
I love this tournament. Previous to this, I could spoke. The last time I was at Ali Pali was probably the lowest moment in my career. I was walking on stage covered in tape, dosed up with tablets and ibuprofen, covered in deep heat and Tiger Balm, and I got absolutely battered, and it was the lowest point in my career. So driving up, I was nervous. I was a bag of nerves. I wanted to show that Nathan's back, and did we do that with that performance? Probably not, but there were signs there. There was good signs there, and I'm going to take positives from that. I've been practicing really hard coming into the tournament, and I've got to go away from this win, and today's only the second round. Go back, practice hard, enjoy Christmas Day with my family, which I can't wait for. I'll get a week off now, and come back Boxing Day and all guns blazing. I've set myself targets. Obviously, after my injury, get back in the top 16, tick. Then get back in the top 10, tick. Then make a major final, tick. Premier League, not a tick yet, but that's what I'm working towards. But no, I'm enjoying my darts. There's no pressure on my shoulders anymore. A couple of years ago there was a lot of pressure, and it's really, really tough. I think you've seen that with Josh last night. The expectation on Josh's shoulders is 21. The expectations on his shoulders last night, and he won, but he didn't play like he had been playing. Now I can just enjoy my darts, and everything, all the shackles are off, and I'm just enjoying my darts.
Interesting.
Did Nathan just tell us that he's in the Premier League without telling us that he's in the Premier League?
There was a hesitation there that might suggest that somebody knows something a little bit more than perhaps the rest of the world.
He said something that I'm not allowed to say yet.
Yeah, let's. I shouldn't really tick this one, wasn't it? It was that moment, wasn't it, where you just saw him leave his face.
Bollocks, I've gone too far.
Maybe one day, we'll see. Let's move on though before he gets in trouble. Before we get in trouble, I doubt it, but we'll be absolutely fine. As we move on to Monday, another double session of action from Alexandra Palace. Another 8 games for us to look ahead to. Why is there only one session on Tuesday, but everything else is double? Someone must know the answer to that.
It's a good question, and I don't know the answer either. There's nothing else happening on Tuesday, is there?
No. But anyway, maybe just Tuesday is just that difficult to get off work. Monday then at the Alexandra Palace as we move into day number 5, 8 games just to predict. We'll try and go at a reasonable pace here. We'll get everybody in the chat room involved as well, but let's not waffle on too long at 20 to 1 in the morning and 45-minute show in the bag already, Cam. We open up the afternoon with Andrew Gilding against Challenge Tour number 2 and new tour card holder Rob Owen. Where are you going with this one?
Where am I going with this one? I think Gilding will win. I think 3-1. I think we see Rob Owen get a set, but I think Gilding this year has just been a little bit too good, and I think that form that he's had this year, I think we see that carry on. I think we'll see him get the win.
Yeah. Both of these players are just as awkward in the way they set up at the hockey. They're both step across, folks. They're both from one extreme side of the other. So it's going to be interesting to see how the cameras work on that one for a start. I'm going to go the same way, but I'm going to say 3-2. I've been impressed with what I've seen from Robbo, and nobody's won more Super Series weeks or live league weeks or anything like that. And sets are very, very similar. They're not exactly the same because you go straight back on again, but first to 4s in those, first to 3s in these. He's got experience in these short little bursts, and that might pay well for him up there. So I'm going to say he goes 3-2, but I do think Gilding just gets over the line. His scoring power this year has been very, very good. However, we have seen some nerves from Gilding this year when he's trying to get over the line in that final moment. But yeah, 3-2 for me. We've got 3-1 for Gilding, says Harry, as does Jack as well. Tommy says 3-2 to Gilding. Jamie says 3-2 Gilding, and G says 3-2 as well. On to the second match of the afternoon. It's the Netherlands, Danny Jansen against Paulo Nebreda. How do you see this one going?
I think another one where I think this one could be 3-0. I think Danny Jansen wins this 3-0, to be honest. I think he'll just have a little bit too much.
Basically, what you're trying to say is the same as me. I know absolutely bugger all against Nebreda. This would be a complete shot in the dark at the minute.
Yeah, I was trying to do it without admitting the fact that I haven't got a clue.
Look, there are some things where Wikipedia just lay things out better. It's not always the best for information or whatever. We get that, but actually, the way that they structure schedules and draws all in one page, all on one site is better for what we do. He doesn't have a clickable name. It's difficult to go and find out about a professional dart player that isn't a professional in Wikipedia's eyes. Not enough research done onto him. Danny Jansen started the year very, very hot. Hasn't quite backed up in the second half of the year. So because of that, I'm going to give Nebreda a set just because I'm moving into the unknown here. But I'm going to say 3-1 to Danny.
Yeah, give him a set.
Is where we're going. Tommy's got Jansen 3-0, as is Harry. Bob's got Jansen 3-2. Jack's got Jansen 3-1. Jamie's got Jansen 3-1. Just got here. I'm assuming you already laughed at Scott getting another DRA fine. Yeah, absolute. I haven't even seen his full press conference yet either. We did play a clip. He didn't say anything in that one. Let's just hope his management company have got deep pockets because it feels like he's going to do this an awful lot in the next 2 years. If you stick a microphone.
But if he keeps playing like that, he's going to be able to pay him out of his own pocket, so it'll be all right.
Yeah, but Daryl Gurney's a 2-time major winner, and he spoke about how they've changed him a little bit because he just couldn't afford the fines anymore. So it does put that a little bit more pressure on you, I guess. On to the third match, and once again, we see another Dutchman, Niels Zonneveld against Louis Williams. I think this one is a little bit closer than the last one, Cam, but which way are you going with it?
Yeah, I think this is actually a really good game. I think Louis might beat him 3-2. I think it's going to be really close, and I think it goes deep in pretty much every set. But Yeah, I think Louis gets over the line 3-2.
We've not seen the best from Louis Williams, especially for the last 6 to 9 months. Perhaps earlier on, and when he did pick up a tour card and whatever else, he was very, very good, very, very solid, made a bit of an impression. But I think we can say similar about Zonneveld. He's slowly building in his career. He's not had one big moment where it's been a big burst, but he's getting better and better and more consistent. All I do know is if this is a 5-setter and every set goes deep, we're going to be here long because it's not going to be rat-a-tat pace. They're both not methodical, not slow, but they're both set. They've got their action. Yeah. It's not Van Gogh in pace, but it's not someone very slow pace, somewhere in the middle. Yeah. However, I'm going to go Zonneveld just shades this one. I'm going to say 3-2 for me. Tommy's got Louis Williams 3-2. Jack's got Williams 3-1. Jesus got Louis 3-2 as well. Harry's got Zonneveld 3-2. Bob's got Louis Williams 3-2. Jamie's got Zonneveld 3-0. On to the final match of the afternoon. And if they both turn up, this could be a belter. If not, this could be absolutely anything. It's Jose de Souza against Simon Whitlock. Two players that have won major titles, that have ridiculous scoring power, that have the ability to finish in the most dramatic ways. Because look, Simon can count, but he goes some weird ways. Jose can't count, which means he just goes whichever way appears in front of him. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, this is either 110 plays 107 or 81 plays 80. I think it's going to be in the better end of it. I think it's going to be a good game. And I think Simon gets over the line, and I think he wins 3-1. I don't think Jose's in the best of form. We haven't seen a great deal from him in recent times. And, Simon, when he's on, he's almost unplayable at times.
He's had that test against Perez as well earlier on in the tournament as well. Obviously, he's got that advantage of having already played. Not to his very best, but he does have that in his locker. De Souza 14th on the order of merit. What do we have? 10 grand at the Euros. It's a lot of first round and second round exits. I haven't really seen him go deep since the World Match Play, where he did make the quarterfinals. I think I'm going to shade it to Jose, and I think I'm going to say 3-2. Chat room, where do you guys go with this one? Jesus got Whitlock 3-2. Tommy's got De Souza 3-1. Got 3-2 for Whitlock from Jack. 3-2 Whitlock, says Bob. Daniel says Jose to miscount. I'm not sure the bookies will take odds on that anymore. It's just odds on. Whitlock 3-1. Whitlock 3-2 for Jamie. And Joel says to Souza 3-1 win. Into the afternoon session, and we see Gert Nenchez take on Leonard Gates.
Speaking of miscounts, we forgot to mention Boris's miscount, to be fair. It's a lovely 108 checkout when he was on 104.
Be honest, because I didn't see it. Like a lot of darts is just blending into one, and it's only day 4 already. When it's just off, and you might text or whatever. You've seen how many WhatsApps I go. I'm in so many more. It's just ridiculous. Oh, bugger, I've just missed that one moment or whatever, which is why we're not the most in-depth. But, miscounts, moved on. Leonard Gates, Gert Nenchez, breakdancing versus Gert.
Yeah. I like Leonard Gates, and I want to pick him to win, but I don't think he will. No, I think he gets beat 3-1.
I agree. Gert's A game is one of the best we've seen from that Dev Tour era. That Dimmy, Mike Dudeka, Ted Evitts, Luke Humphreys. Gert Nenchez's A game is up there with the very, very best of those players. He just doesn't produce it anywhere near enough. We're starting to see a little bit more and more, but I think he's got too much for Leonard Gates up there. In this one, what do we have? Harry says Nenchez 3-0. Tommy says Nenchez 3-1. G says Nenchez 3-1. Bob says Nenchez 3-1. Joel says, I don't know much about Nenchez, but Gates counting is even worse than Jose. Yeah, I think clean sweep for Gert is where we're going to go with that one. And on to the next one. Richie Edhouse against David Cameron. I'm intrigued by this one.
Yeah.
Edhouse is very capable, will hit 180s if he's in flow. David Cameron, world seniors world master, looked very good in the Super Series the other week. He's just got levels to David Cameron where he won't go away. And he's won on TV before. This would not be a surprise if Cameron went and got a job done, I think. Yeah.
No, it wouldn't. And he, like you say, he's one of those that won't go away. And if you miss chances, he's gonna take his. That being said, though, I do think Richie wins. I think it'll be close in 3-2. I just think scoring power might just get him over the line.
I'm going Cameron. I'm going to say he wins this 3-2. I don't think it goes close again, but I just think he's had so many close moments in front of a TV camera that he's got it, especially when you win a Masters title, which is sets, but best of 3, not best of 5. You get those moments over and over and over again. And he's had Phil Taylor on the charge behind him, and he stayed strong with it. And look, with all respect, the name of Phil Taylor is scarier than what Richie Woodhouse is going to produce on the dartboard.
Yeah,
and he's held it together in that moment. He's played a lot of darts since then as well. I'm going Cameron 3-2. What do we have in the chat room? We have Cameron 3-2 from Tommy, as does Harry. Cameron 3-1 from Bob. Cameron 3-2 from G's. Mr. David says Edhouse will win. Jack's got Edhouse 3-1 and Joel's got Cameron 3-1. Plenty of you back in the Canadian because it's not been their best tournament so far after Jeff Smith and Matt Campbell lost earlier. Penultimate game of the night. Steve Beaton against Danny Van Tripp. I'm a little bit fearful for Steve here.
Yeah, it's another one where I want to pick him to win, but I'm not sure if I can do. I don't know whether my internet's gone or yours, so I don't know if anyone can still hear me. Yeah, I think Steve gets off the line 3-2.
I'm going to go the other way, but I think it's 3-1 as well. I think Steve Beaton's pace will only help Danny Van Tripp to play. And I just think young, not scared, look very good. I think I might be on a completely wrong player, and so much blended to one. But he had a decent run at the World Masters of the week as well. I'm sure he did. And he played all right in the Super Series. I just think he's got that little bit too much in that one. So I'm going to say Danny Van Tripp 3-1. Question in the chat room from, is that the Matthew Stevens, the professional snooker player? Says, hi guys, love the show. Been following you for ages. I'm on the snooker tour and the ranking system is similar to darts, but surely Luke having 7.5k given to him is ridiculous. Thought, not his fault. As in, Luke Woodhouse winning earlier. Who got given what?
We're going to have to wait for...
We're going to have to wait for a reply now. I'll go through the scores for this one. If that's actually Matthew Stevens, I'm a bit taken back here. Harry's got beaten 3-0. Joel's got beaten 3-0. G's got beaten 3-2. Sam Beaton's got 3-0. Dad, love that. Jamie's got beaten 3-1. Mr. David's got beaten. Tommy's got beaten 3-2. Jack's got beaten 3-1. Bob's got Danny Van Tripp 3-2. I'm not the only one, Bob. Thank you very much for helping me out there. And then we will go on to Gerwyn Price against Luke Woodhouse. The world #1 and former world champion takes on Luke Woodhouse in this one after he did beat Vladislav Omerochenko earlier on this afternoon. I think I know who you're going to predict to win this one. And I think I could pretty much see where you're going to go with this one. It's Gerwyn Price to win, and it depends which Luke Woodhouse turns up as to how many sets he gets. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, I think we'll see Luke play well. I thought he was solid today. He did what he needed to do. I think he's got another level he can go to and probably will go to in this. I think we'll see him maybe average mid-90s. Play pretty well. He'll get a set, but I guess he will just be too good and win 3-1.
I think similar. I like Luke Woodhouse. I think he's a fantastic talent. I'm not sure we see his A game often enough. And without that, I don't think he pushes Gerwyn Price tomorrow. Saw Gezi in an exhibition the other week. I say saw him. I was there, did an interview with him. And then the moment I left, he averaged 132 for a set against Ricky Evans. That's what happens when you play It's Coming Home as Ricky's walk-on. Apparently the Welsh boys don't like it. But I'm going to go 3-1 in that one as well. Predictions in that one from everybody else. We scroll back. Mr. David has got prize. Tommy's got prize 3-1. G's got prize 3-1. Harry's got prize 3-0. Daniel prize 3-1. Mr. David prize 3-0. We've got prize 3-1 for Joel and for Bob. 3-0 wins for Jack and Mr. David as well. There we have it then, folks. That is all of our predictions wrapped up. As we look ahead to tomorrow's session and look back, a quick reminder then, folks, of a few things. Do make sure you check us out on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Some clips from all our interviews are available on TikTok as well. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to get involved. Keep up to date with all the interviews from Phil, who's up at Alexandra Palace for the entire tournament, and some more content coming your way in 2023. We've had some decent conversations in this last week as we try and get some more content in place for you guys, especially as we look ahead to Q School as well. I don't mean given, but it wasn't going to lose in all reality. Yes, it's Matthew. I guess that's the way the draw works, Matt. Perfect. Thanks for watching, by the way. I'm quite shocked by this. Yeah. Genuinely seen you play at the Crucible before. I think this is the difference in the World Championship. Obviously, there's significantly more qualifying rounds for the World Championship in snooker, and then reaching the Crucible, you know you're guaranteed a bit of a tougher test. Here, it's the more the merrier. It feels like, and there is an incredibly high weighting of prize money in darts. I think that is an issue for the World Championship, but as long as we all know what Mr. Barry Hearn is like, that top number means a lot to him. Yeah. And as soon as we get this World Championship winner to £1 million, I think the rest of the tour will catch its way up.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, it is weighted too far at the moment in terms of one good run here is a big difference. But yeah, like you say, it is about that target is there to make the top number that. And I think, yeah, it's just the look of the draw. He got a game there that, I mean, he still had to go out there and win it. So yeah. I think fair play to him. And yeah, it is a big difference. And then again, I mean, it's anyone else could have got that draw. Nobody's going to be handing it back that $7,500, are they?
Yeah.
So
I think the hands are tied a little bit. And then this is more specific situation as well, because we're seeing less and less of those style of matches as the world opens up a little bit more from COVID and feeder tours are brought in. You've got the CDC in America, the DPA, the DPNZ in Australia and New Zealand. We've got the PDC Europe. We've got African organisations popping up at the minute. And we've got the Asian tour as well. But the Asian tour has been the slowest to resume for a long, long time. The tricky one and the qualifier from where Omerochenko won, I'm not sure if it's actually called the Eastern European qualifier, is the fact that normally you have Russian and Belarusian athletes competing in that as well. They make up 97% of players on that tour. Yeah. Especially at that level. And given the ongoing circumstances in Russia and Ukraine, the PDC have followed pretty much every other governing body from the IOC, basically, and the WDF as a darts organisation have all done the same and not allowed Russian or Belarusian dart players to participate in that qualifier, and that unfortunately meant that the standard was going to be lower from that one spot. Having them involved still makes sense. The Ukrainians, well, to be fair, none of the dart players specifically have done anything wrong, but it's not fair to punish that qualifier completely. There are still athletes that associate to that or affiliation that are eligible to participate in a spot that's always been designated for them. So whilst it's fortunate, I guess, for Luke that he's the one that's drawn that, but I guess anyone else from the Pro Tour side could have got that draw as well. And yeah, look, he's never going to lose that match. You can play that match 100 times, he might lose it once, right? But sport is played for those one time.
Yeah, exactly that. And you've got to have that opportunity. It's got to be there. Otherwise, what's the point of us doing it? And like I say, usually we'd probably have seen Boris Koltsov or someone of the like up there today instead, which you're not looking at that game and going, Luke Woodhouse beats Boris Koltsov 99 times out of 100. He doesn't.
No, it's just the way that it went on the day. It's the unfortunate thing with qualifiers as well, when things aren't based over an entire season and whatever else, you might get surprises come through a qualifier. Some of the players that qualified for the Grand Slam perhaps weren't the most informed players. Devon Peterson made his way to the Grand Slam qualifier. yet we saw him fail to come through the African qualifier and that sort of thing. So, yeah, look, this one's, I guess, a bit of the luck of the draw. It's a little bit of a feel-good story. Perhaps those that are in and around Luke on the Order of Merit might feel a little bit aggrieved that he's had that draw and that opportunity to pick up the extra £7,500, but at the same time, he is now running into Gerwyn Price. So I'm not sure they're going to be criticising too much, unless for some reason Gerwyn Price's arm falls off and he gets a bye through that one. Then they might have somewhere to complain about. But we really do appreciate your question, Matthew. All the best for the rest of the season as well. And thank everybody else for tuning in throughout the show. It's time for us to end, so we will see you all very, very soon. Thanks for watching, guys.